This conference will now be recorded.
We are going to discuss about formula fields, and we will see what exactly a formula field and how to create formula fields in Salesforce, and how to create our own custom formulas in order to do the required calculations manually. Okay, we'll see practically here, and how can we make certain things automated with the help of formula fields. And then what are the various functions that we can use upon preparing the formulas, we'll see. And how to prepare simple formula, how to prepare cross-object formulas. So both we'll see practically. Cross-object formulas are a bit important when you go to the real-time implementations. How to prepare those cross-object formulas also we'll see as part of this. Now, so first of all, we have to understand what exactly a formula field. Okay, now let me explain what exactly a formula field. Assume that I have an object. I have an object. It's my standard object account. Inside this account object, I'm having few fields like ID field, name field, rating field, and the annual revenue field. Like that, I'm having so many fields are available inside my account object. So this is my account object. In my account object, I'm having these fields like ID, name field, rating field, annual revenue field. These are the four fields are available inside my object. Now in my object, I have few records also. Okay, I have few records available inside my object. Let me place few records. The first record ID is some 0014588. Assume that this is the ID of the record. Name of the record is like some Tata Motors. Rating some hot. Annual revenue, we are having some 25 lakhs. Now, second customer 0019022. The name of the customer is some Suresh. Rating value some cold. Annual revenue some 47 lakhs. Third customer 0013490. Name some Praveen. Rating value some heart. Annual revenue some 82 lakhs. 001, the fourth record 4500. Name is some Karthik. Rating value some warm. Annual revenue some 42 lakhs. Fifth record 001 5792. Name some Abhiram. Rating value some heart. Annual revenue some 25 lakhs. So these are the 5 customer records that we have inside my object. These are the 5 customer records. So these are the revenues of these customers also. Now my requirement is whatever the customers are available inside my org, every customer is having their own annual revenue over here. So whatever the revenue they are generating every year, from this revenue, 5% of that revenue they have to pay to the government as a tax. They have to pay the service tax, that is 5%. Okay, they have to pay the service tax to the government 5%. Now, then how can we calculate? How to calculate this 5%? So now tell me here in this case. So we need to calculate 5% of this annual revenue. Whatever the revenue they're generating, from this revenue, 5% of the revenue they have to pay to the government as a tax. Like for example, assume that I went to a jewelry shop. I went to a jewelry shop. I'm purchasing some gold ornaments of cost of some 1 lakh rupees. So whatever the ornaments that you have purchased, based on that bill amount, we have to pay some GST to the government. So whatever the gold ornaments cost that we have, like as 1 lakh, on this 1 lakh, we have to pay 3% as GST. That means the 3,000 rupees will be the GST. So totally we have to pay 1 lakh 3,000 rupees to the gold jewelry shop people here. So whatever the ornament cost is available, for that cost 3% of GST we have to pay. That means 1.5% for state government GST and 1.5% of central government GST. Total 3% we have to pay on gold ornaments. Now, you may purchase this gold ornament from any location in India. We have to pay 3% GST. Like the similar way. For example, I went to a restaurant. I went to a restaurant here in order to have some food. Okay, it may be like as a takeaway also, it may be dine-in also, whatever. So now we have to pay 5% of the tax, 5% of the GST here. So whatever the bill that we have for your food items, so we have to pay that 5% of that bill amount as a GST over here. When you go to any shopping mall to buy some wardrobes, like some jeans, t-shirts or saris or whatever, anything, on that one also we have to pay some GST. Whenever you are purchasing any vehicle, it may be two-wheeler or four-wheeler also, we have to pay 12% of GST to the government over here. That means what? Whatever the revenue that we are generating, on that revenue we are paying some tax. Like for example, if you are generating any revenue from IT industry here, whatever the revenue that we have, on that revenue we have to pay the tax over there. That means income tax. We have to pay the income tax. So if the annual revenue is more than some 10 lakhs, then we have to pay 30% of income tax over here. So that more than 30% of income tax they have to pay. So like that here we are going to be doing some calculations also. Now in this case, now tell me, as part of my requirement here, I'm having this 5 customers are available. These 5 customers are having annual revenues values are available. They have to pay 5% of service tax to the government. Now tell me, how can we calculate this 5% of service tax? So I want to indicate that one more field additionally here. I want to indicate one additional field. I would like to calculate the service tax. So this is service tax field. Service tax field here. We need to calculate this service tax field. In this field, I would like to calculate. How to calculate 5% of this revenue here? What is the formula you are going to apply generally? From this annual revenue, 5% of revenue we are paying as service tax. How to calculate? What is the formula? Mathematics, simple mathematics. Annual revenue into 5 by 100. So whatever the annual revenue that we have, from this annual revenue, I am going to be collecting 5% of annual revenue as a service tax. Now, so that here I'm indicating this value, I'm using this formula. So the service tax will be equals to annual revenue into 5 by 100. Okay, now, so let's see here. How can we calculate this one? Now let's see. So now this is the 25 lakh. Generally, we are using this calculator here. By using this calculator, we are going to be calculating this. This will be 25 lakhs into 5 by 100. Now that will be 1,25,000 rupees. Next, 47 lakhs over here. Now we have to specify 47 lakhs into 5 by 100. 2,35,000. 2,35,000. Now we are having this 82 lakhs. That will be like as 50% here. Now, in this case, what is the value here? 10% means 8,20,000. This will be 4,10,000. Now, this will be having the, so the 10% means what here? 4,20,000, and then 5% means 2,10,000. 2,10,000. 2,05,000. 25 lakhs in the sense 1,25,000 again. Okay, so we are doing the calculation manually here. So we are having only 5 records are available. For these 5 records, I'm calculating the service tax. Okay, with the help of this calculator manual. Here I'm having very less number of records are available over here. That's why we are able to do the calculation very easily by using calculator. Suppose if I'm having some hundreds of records, thousands of records, lakhs of records inside this subject, do you want me to calculate manually here? Will you do this one manually by using calculator, by calculating the service tax one by one, one by one, one by one? No, we can't do that. If I'm having some 5 records, 10 records, 20 records, 50 records max, then we can do them manually by using calculator. Suppose if I'm having more number of records are available, doing these kind of calculations are very, very difficult. We can't do this kind of calculations manually for more number of records. If it is maximum 50 records, we can spend some time, like maybe it may be 1 hour of time we can spend manually, we can do the calculation. If I'm having more than 50 records, it will be very difficult. For that reason, instead of doing these kind of calculations manually, I want to make this responsibility to my Salesforce itself. I want to hand over this responsibility to my Salesforce application itself. My application has to do this kind of calculations. So in this case, how can we do this kind of calculations? For that one, upon creating this field, okay, upon creating this field, I am going to be indicating this field as a formula field. As of now, we know how to create the fields inside our object. It may be text field, it may be number field, it may be pick list field, it may be phone field, it may be email field, it may be any type of field, we know that here. But in those fields, what happened? Upon creating a record, the text box will be getting placing on the screen. In the text box, we have to enter the value manually here. But now I want to create a field inside my object. In this field, whatever the values are available, these values I don't want to enter manually. I want to make these values has to be generated automatically based on a formula. Based on a formula, I want to make these values to be get automatically generated by Salesforce. So in this case here, instead of doing this kind of calculations, upon creating the field itself, I want to inform to the Salesforce, boss, I want a field inside my object which has to generate the values automatically based on the formula. I will specify the formula. Based on that formula, do the calculations automatically, generate the result, place that result inside this field automatically by yourself. So I won't enter this value. I won't do this calculation manually, because if it is no less number of records, I can do it manually. But we are having some lakhs of records, so it's not possible for me to do this manually. So I want to hand over this responsibility to you itself. Please take care of this responsibility. So that I want to inform to the Salesforce, please take care of generating these service tax values based on this formula. So in this case, whenever we are making a field values to be generated automatically based on a formula, then we are using the help of this formula fields. Okay. Till now, whatever the fields we have created, in those fields we have to enter some values over here. But now I want to create a field. In this field, we don't want to enter the value. That value will be generating by Salesforce automatically based on the formula. So like the similar fashion, sometime before we have created a field called as auto number. In that auto number, we are giving an expression. Based on the expression in the same sequence, it will be generating the value. But now here, the values are not in the same sequence. Values are completely different. Depends upon the annual revenue value, the service tax will be keep on changing here. So in this case, I don't want to generate the sequence numbers. I want to do the calculation based on a specific formula. This may be a simple formula also. It may be a complex formula also. I will indicate based on that generate the values. Okay. Understood the concept here? Now, formula fields are nothing but these are also the fields inside our object whose value will be generating by Salesforce automatically based on the formula which we have specified. Whatever the formula or whatever the expression that we have specified, so now it will be generating the value automatically by Salesforce. Okay, clear? Now, so now here in this case, you can raise a question. Sir, formula field values can I modify? No, because these values are generating by whom? Salesforce. Once you hand over the responsibility to the Salesforce to generate the value, so that values we can't modify it again. That means what? Formula field values are purely read-only fields which cannot be editable by the users. Formula field values are purely read-only fields whose value cannot be editable by the users, because here this value will be generating by Salesforce. So this is a system generated fields, we can't edit it. Even though I'm an administrator of this organization, I don't have the rights to modify this value. Only Salesforce can do these operations over here. Okay, clear? Now, so now here in this case here, sometimes in the interview point of view, they will try to confuse you with a logical question. They'll be raising a logical question over here. I'm having a formula field value. I want to change this value. How? I want to change this formula field value. It's a system generated file. I want to make some changes here. I want to change this value. A different value, I want to place it over here. Total formula. Formula I don't want to change now. Formula will be fixed. No, not possible. Annual revenue. Suppose if I'm changing this value annual revenue from 47 lakhs to some 60 lakhs, then what will happen? Automatically formula will be recalculated again. If the formula is getting recalculated, it is collecting this value over here. 5% of 60 lakhs means 3 lakhs. The value will be getting updated automatically here. That means what? Formula fields are always recalculating whenever we are changing the source field. Source field means what? This value is generating based on a formula. This is a formula. In this formula, we are using this annual revenue field value. If you change this source field value automatically, formula will be getting recalculated. Then automatically it will be generating the new value. New value will be getting replaced over. Clear? Understood the concept now? So formula field value can be changed by updating the source field values here. Upon updating the source field value, formula fields will be automatically recalculating by Salesforce, and then it is going to be generating that new value based on the formula. That new value will be placing inside this field automatically. Okay, clear? Now, so in this case, how many formula fields that we can have for an object? Do we have any limitation? No, we don't have any limitation. We can able to have multiple formula fields for an object. We don't have any limitation. All the 400 fields are formula fields also you can create, no problem. Okay, because inside an object we can create 500 custom fields in free developer edition. No, all the 500 fields we can make it as formula fields also, no issue. Because as part of Salesforce, inside an object, we don't have any such limitation that only these many number of formula fields has to be get acceptable. There is no such kind of limitation. We can have n number of formula fields inside your object here. Clear? Understood the concept now? Now. So in this case, how can we create the formula fields? Whenever we are going to be creating the formula fields, we are going to be using some functions. Because while preparing this formula, we are going to be using some functions also. So now here, what are the various ready-made functions that Salesforce offers? Now let's see one by one. What exactly those formulas and what is the use of those formulas, how to use them, we'll see as part of this implementation. Okay, now clear up to this one? Now make a note of this one. Formula fields are the read-only system generated fields formula fields are the read-only system generated fields whose value will be generated by Salesforce automatically based on the specified formula or expression. Formula fields are the read-only system generated fields whose value will be generated by Salesforce automatically based on the formula or expression specified. Formula field values can't be editable by the users. Formula field values can't be editable by the users. We can change the formula field value by updating the source field. By updating the source field. Now, upon creating the formula field, we have to specify the formula or expression. We have to specify the formula or expression based on the need. Based on the need. Now, we can create n number of formula fields for an object. We can create n number of formula fields per an object. Now, Salesforce provides a set of ready-made functions to be get used upon preparing the formula. Salesforce provides a set of ready-made functions to be get used upon creating the formula. So what are the various of functions that we have in Salesforce? Now let me explain one by one. Done with these points? Now, let's see what are the various of functions that we have in Salesforce. Now let me explain. So now these functions are not new. Okay, you might be aware of these functions here already in your mathematics. Okay, so now these functions are not new. These are already you are aware of in your childhood mathematics. Now, the first function is ABS function. ABS functions in the sense absolute function. What do you mean by this absolute value generally? Generally, absolute value means positive value. Okay, the positive number. Now, so what this ABS function will do is, whenever you are passing a negative number to this function as input, okay, now this absolute function will take the negative value as input, it will be converting to positive over here. So in order to get the positive value, that means absolute value means positive value of a given number, we are using this ABS function here. Now, for example, if I'm using ABS of minus 45.345, then it is converting this negative value into positive. Suppose if I'm passing the positive, it will be returning again positive only here. Because the main purpose of this absolute function is absolute value means positive value. Okay, so if I'm passing the negative number, it will return positive value. If I'm passing positive, again it will return positive only over here. Okay, now, so in order to get the absolute value of a given number, we are using this ABS function. Next, SQRT here. That means square root function. Sometimes we need to calculate the square root value over here. For example, I'm having this value some 169. So now here we need to calculate the square root value over here. Now 169 we can able to write it as, okay, 13 whole square. So now that square root, that means square root in the sense that will be whole power 1 by 2. So now we can able to have the value 13. So in this case here we can able to calculate the square root value over here. Like for example, we can able to specify 256. That will be like as some 26 like that. We can able to do the calculation here. Now, so now in this case, if I am giving SQRT of some, okay, now we are giving this value 144. It will be returning this value, okay, 12. If I'm giving like as was square root of 169, we can get that value that if you 13. Now, like that here we can do the calculation depends upon your requirement here. So whenever if you want to get the square root value of the given number, we are using this SQRT function. Now, third one, length function. Basically, length function is used to calculate the length of a string. That means in that string, how many characters are available, including spaces, including special characters also. It may be space, it may be dot, it may be comma, it may be hash, it may be dollar, anything, whatever. In order to do the calculation of number of characters that we have inside that string, we are using the help of length function. Generally, whenever we are going to be creating any record also, we can restrict that. Username should be minimum 5 characters, maximum 10 characters. Password should be minimum 8 characters, maximum 15 characters. Like that, we are indicating some restrictions. At that time, how can we know how many characters the user has entered inside this field? To do that calculation, we are using length function. So length function is used to calculate how many number of characters available inside the string that we can use with the help of this length function. Okay, clear? Next. The next one, trim function. What do you mean by trim function? Removing the blank spaces. Whenever if you're having some blank spaces, okay, as part of your string, not in between the words, not in between the words. It may be starting of that string or ending of the string. If you are having any blank spaces are available, to remove the blank spaces from both the sides, from left side, from right side, both the sides, we are using this trim function. Suppose if I'm having this string like as some welcome to India like this. Between these words, I'm having some spaces. This is one space, this is one space. It won't remove these spaces here. Whatever the space that we have before the string, whatever the space that we have after the string, this particular space it will remove automatically here by using trim function. So trimming in the sense removing. So trim function is used to remove the blank spaces which we have before the string and after the string. Clear? Now, next one, upper function. You know, upper function is for what? In order to convert the characters into uppercase letters. So generally, whenever we are typing some data in some applications, the data will be visible in the uppercase format by default over here. Now here in this case, whenever if you want to convert the characters into uppercase format, we are using the help of upper function. Suppose if I am giving this welcome as in small letters, it will be converting into uppercase. If I am passing the value in uppercase, again it will be returning as it is, same uppercase will be getting returned over here. Like the similar way we are having lower function. In order to convert that characters into lowercase characters, we are using this lower function. That means capital to smaller. That means capital to the smaller case letters over here. Next one, floor function. Then what is the use of floor function? Sometimes we are rounding up the values over here. Sometimes we are rounding up the values. Now assume that, for example, I'm having some experience on some Salesforce, like as a 3 years of 1 month experience. Okay, 3 years, 1 month exactly I'm having the experience. Generally, we can consider as what? 3 years. Okay, that means what? We are rounding up the value from 3.1 to 3. Now, in some cases here, today I have purchased some items here. We went to that shopping mall. The bill will be almost 999 rupees here. We can say it will be around 1000 rupees. That means we're rounding up to the next values over here. In this case, whenever if you want to round up the values, we are using that ceiling function, floor function. Ceiling means what? Top. Floor means bottom. So whenever if you want to round up the value, you want to round up the value to the next number or to the previous number. So based on that, we can use this function, floor and the ceiling function. So the floor function is used to round up the value to that lowest integer over here, because floor means okay bottom here. Ceiling means top. So we are rounding up the value to the lowest integer. Ceiling function is used to round up the values to that next integer over here, to the next number automatically. Suppose if I'm indicating ceiling of okay 14.6, it will be rounding up the value to 15. Okay, now so that in order to round up the value to the lowest number or to the next integer, we are using the help of this floor and the ceiling function. These functions are not new. In your childhood, you are already having in mathematics here. Now, during the functions concept, you might be having all these functions. Next one, we are having left function. So what is the use of this left function? Left function is used to get some specific number of characters from the left side of the string. In order to get some specific number of characters from the left side of the string, we are using this left function over here. Now, like for example, assume that I'm having a record ID here. My record ID is starting with some 005. It is having some record IDs available here, which is having some alphanumerical value. It is having some alphanumerical value here. So now this is my record ID. Now tell me this record is belongs to which object? This record is belongs to which object? Starting with a 005. Long ago we have discussed. Now 005 means what? User object.
User.
Okay. Now this is the user object here. Suppose for example, if I'm indicating like some 701, record is starting with 701 here. Now this is what?
Campaign. Campaign.
Right.
Campaign.
Now if I'm having some 00G,
Group.
referring the notes.
Group.
Now this is a group object here. That means what? We are collecting this data here. Based on the starting 3 characters over here, we are going to be identifying to which object this record is associated. So because this is the actual string that we have, this is the record ID. For this record ID, this is the left side. This is the right side. Okay. We are having this left side, right side. Now the object ID will be available where? In the left side here. How many characters? 3 characters. So the first 3 characters are representing the object ID here. Now in this case, if you want to get some specific number of characters from the left side of the string, we are using this left function. So left function is used to get some specific number of characters. It may be 1 character, 2 characters, 3 characters, 5 characters, 10 characters. How many characters you would like to fetch? That we can indicate. So in order to get the specific number of characters from the left side of the string, we are using left function. Now, so for example, here I'm having left half. So now we are having this string. This is a string where exactly the actual content is available. And now I want these many number of characters over here. So I want 3 characters. So from the left side, it is collecting 3 characters over here. These characters will be getting written back. So for your understanding purpose, I have given the syntax also, an example also for every function along with output, okay, for your understanding purpose. Now, like the similar way, in some cases, I want some specific number of characters from the right side of the string over here. If you want to get some specific number of characters from the right side, then we are using the help of right function. So left function is used to get some specific number of characters from the left side of the string, and the right function is used to get some specific characters from right side. In some cases, I want to get the characters from a specific starting position. At that time, we are using the help of substring function. We are using this substring function. Substring function is used to get some specific number of characters from the string from a specific index position. So we can able to indicate that string also. Along with the string, we have to specify. Okay, along with the string, we have to specify how many number of characters you would like to fetch and from where you want me to collect these characters over here. That we need to indicate. We have to indicate that. For example, I'm having this sentence, welcome to Hyderabad. From this one, I would like to collect 5 characters, okay, from the 4th position here. Starting position, we have to specify the actual string from where exactly you want to get the data, and then specify the starting position from where you want to fetch and how many characters you would like to fetch. That we can indicate. Now here we are indicating this welcome to Hyderabad, and then from the 4th character I would like to fetch over here. Now this is the first one, second, and the third, and the fourth. From 4th character, how many characters you want me to fetch? 5. So from the fourth character, including fourth one, first character, second, third, and the fourth, and the fifth. So that these are the characters will be getting returned over here. So we can able to collect these characters over. Depends upon your requirement, we can able to collect some specific number of characters from the string from a specific index position also by using this substring function. Okay, from left side means left function, right side right function, from the middle any position we can go with the help of this substring. Next, some date related functions also. We have a function called as today function. Today function is used to collect the today's date. In order to collect the today's date, that means not my local system date, Salesforce server date in the form of MMDDYYYY format. In order to collect the today's Salesforce server date, we are using the help of today function. So by using this today function, we can collect the today's date, the complete date we can collect, because month and the date and the year also. But in some cases, okay, I would like to get only the date part, only date value I want, because the 12th date, so today's date, 12 or 24, 25, that year what? I want to get only date. Sometimes I want to get only the month number here. Sometimes I want to get only the year number, that's it. I don't want the complete date, either date value or month value or year value. For that one, we have three separate functions are available, like month function, and then we are having year function and the day function. Three functions are available here. Now the year function is going to be returning only the year portion. Only the year number will be getting returned over here. Now, if I'm using this month function, it returns only month number value here. If I'm using day function, it returns only day value. That means the date. Okay, day function is used to get date value over here. To get only the date value, we are using day function over here. Next one, we are having if function. Generally, this is called as conditional statement. When you go to any programming languages, if condition is nothing but one of the conditional statement that we have. But as part of Salesforce, that if conditional statement is available in the form of a function. So now, whenever if you want to check some conditions, okay, if you want to check some conditions, based on the condition result, we can able to do some operations. So at that time, we are using the help of if condition. So if we can specify the conditions whatever you want. It may be one, it may be multiple conditions also we can specify with the help of logical operators. Now, so in this case, whatever the conditions we have specified, if all the conditions are satisfied, it returns a value true, or else it returns a value false. So in order to check the required conditions, we are using the help of this if function, which is used to specify some multiple conditions, and then if all the conditions are satisfied, it returns a value true, or else it returns a value false. So that to validate some certain conditions based on the need, we can use the help of this if condition. Next one, image function. So what exactly the image function and what we can do? Basically, image function is used to represent some image on your screen, on your user interface. On the record detail page, we can show an image also. We can show a picture also, depends upon your requirement over here. So at that time, if you want to show an image on your records detail page, then we can use the help of image function. As part of this image function, we have to specify the path of the image, where exactly the image is available. Whenever I'm placing the mouse pointer on the image, what text you want me to show. That means what online help information, what tooltip text message you want to show, that we can specify with the help of alternative text. And along with that, we can specify the height of the image and the width of the image also. With what height you want to show this image, with what width you want to show the image, that we can decide, that we can control. But in this case, as part of this function, specifying the height and width is optional. You may pass the height, you may pass the width also. If I'm passing the height and width, automatically that specified height and width will be considered. It will show the image with exactly with the same size. Suppose if I'm not giving any size, automatically the actual image size will be getting considered over here. Okay. For that reason, we are having this function image. So by using this image function, we can represent some images also on your user interface on the record detail page by using formulas. Next one, case function. What exactly the case function? Case function is used to validate some certain conditions. In order to validate certain conditions, we are using the help of case function over here. Based on your application requirement here. Based on your application requirement, we can check some certain conditions with the help of this case function also. Now, simply in one word, I can say this case function is nothing but switch statement in programming languages. In programming languages, we are having one of the conditional statement called as switch statement. That is, switch statement is nothing but case function as part of your Salesforce. Okay. Now, so now here in this case, whenever if you want to prepare some multiple conditions to be get validated, then we can go with the help of case function. Okay. Now, the next one, text function. So what exactly the text function? Basically, text function is used to get the currently selected value from the pick list control. Especially this function will be using for the pick list controls over here. For example, user has entered selected some value from the pick list. So to get the currently selected value, because in the pick list it is having so many options are available. From these options, what option the user has selected, I want to collect that value. To get that value, we are using the help of text function. So text function is used to get the currently selected value from the pick list control. For that reason, we are using this help of this text function over here. These are a few functions are available as part of your Salesforce. Not only this, we have some more also. Depends upon our usage, we can able to use that functions also inside your formula fields. Clear? Upon preparing the formula, if any of the formula in any of the place, if any of this function is required, we can use them directly over there. We can use a combination of multiple functions also inside that. Okay? Now, let's see. Let me place this one now. So now in this case, whenever we are going to be preparing a formula field, we are using that formula, we are indicating a formula. We are specifying an expression. That formula will be getting executed. It is going to be representing that result over there. So whatever the formula you are going to prepare, formula will be returning some result to you. That formula result can be 8 types in Salesforce. Okay, formula result can be 8 types. What are those 8 types? Now let's see. What are the formula that we are preparing in Salesforce upon creating the field? That formula will be returning some result. That result can be of either a text type, result can be either a number type, result can be either a percentage type, result can be either a currency type, result can be either a checkbox type, result can be either a data type, it can be a time type, it may be date type also. These are the 8 types. Whatever the formulas that we are going to create, that formula will be returning some results. Like as part of your mathematics, you are preparing so many formulas over here to do some calculations also. So now at that time, you are using some shortcut formulas like as tips and tricks. At that time, each formula will be returning some result. Now here also, we are using such kind of formulas. Upon using the formula, whatever the value the formula is going to return, that formula return type can be either a text type or a number type or a currency type or a percent type, or a checkbox type, or a date type, or a time type, or it may be date type. These are the 8 types that Salesforce will supports. Okay. So the formula return type can be any one of these 8 types over here. Okay. Now, make a note of this one. While creating the formula field, the formula result can be, what happened? The formula result can be, okay, any one of these, okay, below 8 types here. First one, it can be a text type, it can be a number type, it can be a percent type, it can be a currency type, it will be a checkbox type, it can be a data type, it can be a time type, it can be a date type. These are the 8 types over here. So whatever the formula that we have prepared, the formula return type can be any one of these 8 types. Have you done with the practice of morning use cases? No, right? No, I know that.
Sir, excuse me.
Yes.
Sir, in the morning, first use case is there, na, sir?
Mhm.
In that, we have used a decision element, no, sir?
Right.
So, without using decision elements, can't we give those three logics in the filter logic of the flow, sir?
Yes, right. Directly we
Yes,
can do.
yeah, that
Directly we
also.
can do.
So,
Also we can do.
we can eliminate the
Right.
decision box, na, sir?
Right. If you are adding those condition inside your, okay, direct the element itself, then from there you can able to eliminate that decision element. Because here how to use the decision element, that's what I have given that example to you. Okay.
If we use that in filter, then what is the use of decision, sir?
No, because in some certain cases we need to check the conditions. In certain cases we have to check some conditions. For that
Okay.
reason, they have given decision elements also. Whenever it is required, we can use it.
Okay, sir.
Now, let's see how can we create this formula field. What is the navigation we used to follow? Now let's see that. I will give you the navigation and practical we'll see in the next session here. Okay. Now, very few people are available today here. So we'll see the practical in next session. Now, upon creating the formula field, we have to select the data type as formula. Okay. Now, click on the required objects tab. For example, accounts. Click on setup menu and click on edit object button. Click on Fields and Relationships link. Click on Fields and Relationships link. Click on New button. Select the data type as formula. Click on Next button. Click on Next button. Now, enter the formula field label and the name. Select the formula return type. From the radio buttons. Click on Next button. Write the required formula or expression inside the formula editor. Formula editor. Click on Check Syntax button to validate the formula syntax. To validate the formula syntax. Click on Next button. Select the visible checkbox to make the field to be visible to all profile users. And click on Save button. Click on Save button. So this is the navigation we used to follow in order to create the formula fields in Salesforce. So this is the only data type left till now. So we're done with this data type also now. We're done with that basic data types, relationship data types, and then formula data types, auto numbers, roll-up summaries, everything we are done. Now, note. Formula fields will be always visible on the detail page of the record. These are not visible in the edit page. That already we know each page layout contains two modes, like as edit mode, detail mode. On the edit page, formula fields will not be visible because we are not supplying any input value for the formula fields. Already we have handed over the responsibility to Salesforce by giving a formula, so that formula will be generating by Salesforce itself, so that we no need to supply the value. That's what formula fields will not be visible on the edit page. These are visible only on detail page. Now, we can create both the simple formulas and cross object formulas. formulas based on the depends upon the requirement. We can create either simple formula, that means it may be having very simple calculation, or it may be a cross object formula. That means multiple objects I would like to reference. Then how to use this cross object formulas, we'll see. Cross object formulas are very, very important, very useful in the real time implementation. How to do that? Okay, we'll see practically also. Both simple formulas, cross object formulas, both we'll see practically. Okay, then how to create these formula fields, we'll see in next session. That means on Monday, we'll be having this formulas concept here. In 1 hour, we'll be completing this one. Then we'll be starting the validation rules concept also. How to create the validation rules, what exactly the validation rule, we'll see practically. Okay. On Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we are going to be discussing these features here, formula fields and the validation rules also. And then I would like to take up that one more small feature that is called as record types. What exactly the record type? Those are also called as the business types in Salesforce. How to create those record types, we'll see. From this day onwards, we are entering into one of the major features, that is security. Okay. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then after that, next 1 week will be completely security part. Okay. Now.
Mr. Feroz, you said we will have a look at the many-to-many relationships once practically.
Okay, I will do that one. I will take a whole session also on that part.
Yeah, thank
Next
you.
week we will plan for that.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you. And tomorrow morning at 9:30 we have the session as usual. Okay. So before coming to the tomorrow session, try to complete the today's assignments here. Whatever the features we have discussed today morning, try to complete that so that you can feel comfortable with that. Okay.